if
De'Aaron Fox is limited or doesn't play, I think he's going to give it a go. If he's limited or just not himself, and we're going to know that pretty early on, I don't know how the Kings have enough firepower to deal with Golden State. And then Steph Curry, they still have not really gotten physical with him or disrupted his rhythm at all. That has to change if you want to beat the Warriors.
De'Aaron Fox has been such a joy to watch. You hope he's not limited. Alan Hahn, the Heat win tonight against the Bucks and close out the series if
playoff Jimmy shows up in Milwaukee and the Bucks continue to guard him one-on-one instead of letting someone else beat them. A phenomenal game that he had at home when he had the crowd behind him. Can he do it on the road? We've seen him do it before.
56 points in a playoff
20
game.
in the first, 20 in the fourth.
Unbelievable. Legs, the Lakers close out their series tonight against Memphis if
AD has 25 plus, and he's had this up and down series, 2 phenomenal games, 2 games where he really wasn't there offensively at all. You go on the road, you know what the environment's going to be. This is the kind of game that LeBron smells it in the water, it's going to be over, and Anthony Davis will give him that feeling if he's engaged in the beginning.
You agree AD's the key here?
Absolutely. He owes it to LeBron after the game he had, and LeBron was able to pull it out and get the win. He did get the block late, but if you're Anthony Davis and you saw the effort LeBron James gave in that game 4, you say to yourself, I owe you one. And I know he's got a hip issue. He's been talking about it, and it's amazing that he continues to let you know all the different injuries that he has. The guy's like the operation board. But, you know, that's an old reference. I think legs, you
every time I tried to get the funny bone. Yeah, I know exactly the game you're talking about.
Some kids might not know it. But he clearly has had some issues. But this is one where you got to dig deep and say, all right, my guy got me here. I owe him. And I've got to give him now a win here.
I do think one of the weirdest things about these playoffs is that right now, like, the Lakers are the only healthy team, right? Like, everybody else has injury. But this team we had all these questions about. But look, Legs, I'm looking at a tight turnaround here. They played the other night, and they have an earlier start time, tonight. Like, is that something that you think can affect them given their issues with, relying on older guys?
Yeah, it can affect them, but I do believe that they understand the seriousness of this moment. Right? So if you drop this game, number one, immediately the confidence level of the Grizzlies pivots by getting one win. Now you feel like, okay, we're in this series, and now the Lakers would have one home game left to close it out. And as well as some of these young guys have played for them, that's a lot of pressure, knowing you could go back on the road for Game 7. So looking down the line, LeBron is smart enough to process all of this. He wants to take care of business now. Get this over with and not give this team all of a sudden belief that they're back on our level again. Because right now, Memphis is kind of reeling.
Who wins this game?
I think the Lakers are going to win this game. I think the Lakers have the Grizzlies, and the reason is not only because of how well the Lakers have been playing and their supporting cast, everything else, but I'll tell you what, when you look at the Grizzlies right now and you see the Dylan Brooks stuff, and I mean, there's got to be some guys in that locker room looking at him going, are you serious? Poke the bear? Really, man? Like, this is what we wanted to do? They feel like a team that is showing a lack of maturity. It's something that their own coach has talked about, but it's something you see. And with Ja Morant not 100%, it just feels like if the Lakers can punch first in this game, especially, like I said, Anthony Davis shows up and starts to dominate a little bit, will the Grizzlies start having a doubt, and will they also start to fray enough to let go of the rope?
Yeah,
that's something I could see happening tonight.
Whether that 12-0 run you're going to get. Memphis is going to hit them with a 12-0 run at some point in the first half. Whether that, come back, get that thing to even again, I think Memphis collapses.
I think you were talking yesterday about LeBron James and what we're watching here. I found that interesting, the idea that he's kind of maybe having sort of a legacy postseason that we might not have seen coming.
Yeah, I mentioned it. We all loved The Last Dance. It got us through the pandemic. And this could be LeBron James's version. This could be like the live document. We could be watching this right now unfold. And this is one of the episodes, this first series, because we have always seen LeBron James under pressure, under scrutiny, must win, has to win a championship, chasing history, chasing ghosts. Right now, he is in the athlete nirvana where mind, body, and spirit are in a great place. He's a leader among a young team that he seems to love doing it, and it's pockets of the game that he needs to dominate, not 48 minutes of a game that he needs to dominate.
Yeah.
That's what I find so remarkable about what we're watching with him and so at peace that he is. And I would think if they can get to a finals, I mean, what a story it would be, and it might be one of his best.
It's amazing when any athlete or any person, any walk of life, when you get to that place in your life when you're just completely cool with the results, however it turns out, when you get to that place, the freedom you have, the peace that you have, it allows him to do what he's doing. It's pretty fun to watch. This might be one of the most, for people out there, there's always those people that are anti-LeBron people no matter what.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible not to love this version of him. It really is. Just watching what he's doing with this particular group, especially if they go on a serious run,
right,
and the matchups we could potentially see down the road for him personally, like if he ended up getting the Warriors and then got the Suns, it's like if that were to happen,
Steph Curry,
look at those individual matchups.
The marquee, right? And the young players almost don't want to let him down.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing about this, too, is what and that's why I said, Anthony Davis, this is your game now, to not let him down. You bring it tonight. What did Coach say? We were talking to Coach Herm about, he's a big Laker fan. Coach, what do you call Anthony Davis?
Cotton.
Dr. Cotton.
But what if Anthony Davis says, LeBron, I owe you, oh, my hip, my hip. I almost owed you one.
My back, my neck and my back.
So we'll see about the Lakers. The defending champion Golden State Warriors are also back on the road for a Game 5 tonight. Golden State lost the first two in Sacramento, but even the series up at home. You may recall the Warriors were 11-30 on the road in this regular season. Only Detroit, Houston, and San Antonio were worse. None of those teams are in the postseason. So I think this is a real thing with the Warriors and has been all year. They're 11-32 in road games. Do you believe they will win this one tonight in Sacramento?
It stops tonight. Remember, a great feature on what happened with the Warriors after Draymond and him stomping on Domantas Sabonis and getting suspended and watching the game from home and racing to the arena because he had watched the game like it was film room and he found so many things. He saw so many things. And is it something that helps unify this group a little more because of all the different issues that they have had at times? Because they have played better. Yes, they were a much different looking team in their own building. He's him saying, I shouldn't start. Kevon Looney earned it, and he should start. Is this now something that brings this group together, but also have they found something? And then let's also add the fact that De'Aaron Fox also now has an issue with his finger, his shooting hand, and can that affect him? I just believe this road stuff, it stops tonight with Golden State.
Pick them to win the series, and if I'm going to stick with that, it'd certainly be easier if they did it tonight because then they can win it at home. By winning on the road in Game 7, historically, we know what the odds are of that happening. I think for me, it's because of Curry. One, on that end. On the other end, Green and Looney have really bothered Sabonis. Like he's in a lot of traffic, and he's constantly got congestion around him. He has not had the same impact that he had in the regular season, night in, night out. So I think those two components make me believe the Warriors win it tonight. I think Curry's special. Maybe it's not quite the signature game of his career, which was Game 4 in the finals last year on the road against Boston, but I think he's going to continue to do what he's doing, which is be in rhythm with space, operate 30-plus for him, calms everybody down. I think the Warriors win it and then go home and close it out.
Right. So if they come back and win this series, how are we looking at them the rest of the way? Legit contender in the West, or are there too many issues?
Yeah, no question. If they get through this series with everything that they dealt with and what they're going to have to do offensively to win this series, because this is the highest scoring team in the league they're playing against, where they will be mentally and just what we have just watched, Wiggins in rhythm, Clay in rhythm, Steph, like your top guys are all feeling it offensively. They now are going to be looked at as a team legitimately, as you could see in the finals. And I think a lot of people doubted that going into the postseason. But you can say the same thing about Denver. You can say the same thing about Phoenix. I think any one of those three teams, I'm not going to be shocked. I think Golden State will be looked at differently, yes, if they win this series.
Yeah, the West gets real interesting, too, with potential matchups now going forward if the Golden State Warriors can finish the series. And, Chris Canty, one of my good friends, always uses this phrase that confidence comes from demonstrated performance. Well, the Warriors have demonstrated great performance enough for us to believe that they can get through this series.
Western Conference playoffs.